Today, we'll be talking with honor student Heather Stroup to learn what the first year experience is like at USF. Coming up next. Hey Honors Bowls! Welcome to the Honor Roll Podcast, the flagship podcast for the Judy Genshaft Honors College Podcast Network. I'm your host, Reva Gandhi, a third-year student studying biomedical sciences and public health with a minor in nutrition at the University of South Florida and a member of the Honors College. Today, my co-host is Caroline Merriman, a fourth-year student studying English and biology. Welcome, Caroline. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Reva. It's great to be back this week. This is actually our first episode hosting together.
I know, it's so exciting. As always, we like to start our podcast off with one big question. So today my question is, what were you looking forward to your first year at college?
Oh, man, that's a hard question. I think my first year, I was really just excited to get out of my hometown. I'm from Ocala, so it's a bit smaller. And it's I went to school with the same people, from kindergarten to high school. And so I was just really excited to meet new people and to just try out living somewhere else where there was more stuff to do. But there was a lot of fear still. I was still very, nervous about college, but excited at the same time.
Yeah, that's really fair. I was really excited to just try a new place. I moved around a lot as a kid, so I didn't have that same, growing up with everybody. But as I grew older, my schools consistently got bigger. So I was a little daunted by the size of USF, but I was really excited to try living in a new place, finding your favorite restaurants, finding new friends. I just think I was really excited for that.
Yeah, I think the benefits of going to college with the excitement, things to look forward to outweigh what can be scary.
For sure. And I think especially moving from out of state to then in-state for high school, I think going to a local college really kind of changed my outlook on college. But that's not always the case for everyone. Today, we'll be talking with Honors first-year student Heather Stroup all about her journey as an out-of-state student. Heather is majoring in biology and is the recipient of the Women in Leadership and Philanthropy Judy Genshaft Scholarship. Stay tuned to hear all about the ups and downs of freshman year.
My name is Marco Nardiello. I am the Advancement Administrator for the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Award Spring is USF's scholarship portal. It is university-wide. All sorts of scholarships are on there. Go and apply right now. Do it. Go Bulls.
Joining us today is Heather Stroup, a first-year biology major all the way from Monroe, Louisiana. Welcome, Heather. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Heather Stroup. I am a biology major with a medical biology concentration, and I also recently started a minor of children's behavioral health care, so it's been great.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. I am also on the pre-medical track, and it's definitely a lot, but it's a lot of fun, so just hang in there.
Yes.
Your minor sounds really cool. What drew you to apply to USF?
Well, my grandmother actually has been in St. Petersburg for my entire life. And so I grew up coming back and forth to this area, and I really, really loved it. And when I was doing my college research, I really wanted to get out of state, and I looked at the schools that were good for medicine and good for biology and all of these science-y fields. And USF was at the top of the line in all the research that I looked into. And I figured it'd be really convenient to go and stay near my grandmother and be in a place that I already knew I loved.
Yeah, it's definitely really nice to be near family. You have a little bit of security, but also you're getting to try something new at the same time. I feel like freshman year is kind of the year where you have all these new opportunities and new activities, and you're trying all these different restaurants and going to new clubs. How would you characterize your experience so far?
Well, it's definitely been a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. I mean, I was one of those people that was ready to leave 100% out of my hometown. And I got here and it was great. And I love being in my own little world and experiencing all these new things. And Tampa is such a vibrant city. But it is hard. The classes are hard. Obviously, we had 2 hurricanes hit in the fall. That's very hard, the school completely shutting down, dorms closing, campus closing, classes, being out. So it was difficult to find a balance between everything. But other than that, I would say that it's been a great experience being here.
I get that. Yeah, the hurricanes definitely caused some shifts in our normal college life. But specifically being an out-of-state student, it had to have caused, some changes moving to Florida. So what is it like being an out-of-state student?
It definitely did cause some shifts. I mean, I wasn't around family during the hurricanes. I was responsible for making sure that my grandmother was safe during that time. But it was hard to find a steady thing to rely on to be able to feel secure with all of the things going on. And I think that it's really great being an out-of-state student. I think that everybody should, if they have the opportunity, get out of their hometown and explore other options, because I know that the opportunities that I've had here in Tampa and at USF and in the Honors College, I never would have gotten the chance to do in Louisiana, especially in such a low-income town in Louisiana. So we didn't have the opportunities there. And I think that everybody should at least do the research and try to see where their options are and where the opportunities are for their careers and what they want to do, and try to get into those opportunities.
Yeah, and there's so much out there. There's so many different schools across the country where people can, like you said, find opportunities that they wouldn't essentially have. You also mentioned that, you kind of had struggle, finding stability or finding somewhere to kind of, find your ground coming as an out-of-state student. Did you find that stability this year, and, how did you do that?
I feel like I did end up finding the stability. Obviously, the first few months were rocky. I feel like the first few months of college are rocky for everybody. Over time, I found a schedule. I'm really big on to-do lists. So I found a schedule and I was able to just map out my plan and figure out what I needed to do when. And that gave me more time to hang out with friends and hang out with my boyfriend and just even go down to St. Pete to see my grandmother. And it helped me to stay connected with the world instead of just be on a college campus doing classes 100% of the time. And I think that's really important. And I'm also a Christian, so I found strength in God, and being able to just rely on him and rely on his strength as opposed to mine was really important for me, because I know that I wouldn't have been able to make it through a lot of these changes by myself, especially without my immediate family right here, as I had always known.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you found that stability. I know it's definitely hard during that transition period, but now that you kind of have, what are your favorite things about the Tampa Bay area and about USF in general?
Well, for USF, I would say I think it's great that everybody can find a place here. I've joined a couple clubs. I'm in the marching band. I'm in Chi Alpha campus ministry. I think that it's really great getting to have something no matter where you go. And even walking around campus, there's always something happening, and you can join in or you cannot. There's always something to do. And I think that's the great part about living on campus too. And for Tampa, I would say it's just so beautiful. There's so many opportunities. I think a lot of people actually that grew up in Tampa take Tampa for granted in a way. It's such a big city, and it has the downtown and the rivers and the Riverwalk and, the NHL team and obviously the Bucks. And it's just, there's so many things to do and so many big things that makes me feel like I'm, on top of the world when I'm here. So
yeah, my grandma, she always likes to say that Tampa's 6 cities in one. So you go to one side of Tampa and it's you go to Hyde Park, and that's completely different from over here in the university area. And so there is such a great amount of things to do. You did mention that you're in the marching band. What instrument do you play? I'm just curious.
I play flute. I actually play piccolo too, but I haven't played that here yet. But maybe I will in the future.
What has it been like being a part of like the Herd of Thunder?
It's been great. I would recommend for everybody who plays an instrument, definitely join. It's a great place to make friends. Almost all of the friends I have now, I met like before classes even started, just because it's a great place to find something in common, and everybody's so spirited for the school. I mean, we get to go to the football games, we get to travel. We traveled all over Florida in the fall semester. So there's so many opportunities to just get out there and support your school while also making friends and meeting new people. And it was a really great experience to get me involved my first semester.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Florida is definitely a very big state, so I'm sure there were lots of opportunities for you to kind of pick at all the different cultures that we have in the South here. So pivoting the conversation just slightly, what is it like? You're also a member of the Judy Genshaft Honors College. What is that like?
It's been awesome. I applied for the honors college as a little senior in high school, and I really didn't know what it would entail. I had heard of the honors colleges in my local universities, and it was pretty much just taking honors classes and being able to say you had a title of being in an honors college. But here it's completely different. I feel like it's so much of a community. The way they structure it is just wonderful. Being able to take classes that aren't originally part of my major and being able to broaden my horizons and meet such a vibrant faculty and community is a really great experience.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that was probably my favorite part coming to the Honors College. You're taking all these really cool classes that you wouldn't take in your major. But are you taking any honors courses this semester?
Yes, I am taking an honors course this semester. I'm taking the Disability and Pop Culture from Kyle Romano. It has been great. I've loved the class. We're learning about how disability is shown in media and in pop culture and how disabled people are affected by this media. So I've loved the experience. He has a great structure planned out for the rest of the semester, so I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, Kyle is so cool. He actually came into my AOK class like would be 3.5, 4 years ago. And he was part of our module on like accessibility for people with disabilities. And it was so cool to get to learn from him. And it's such an important thing for us to know as honor students, especially, having so many biomedical students like in our classes that we do, learn that point of view of what it's like, in our country for people who do have disabilities. What has been the impact on you of getting to take these classes that are outside of your major, of kind of getting to, explore things that maybe you wouldn't learn in your degree, talk to people who you wouldn't know otherwise?
I think it's really interesting to be able to have courses offered in the honors college to all people because, like you said, for me, I'm a pre-med, student, and I would not be able to take these other classes because they just wouldn't fit into my major course plan. So it's really fun to be able to just broaden everything that I'm doing into more knowledge. And I think it makes people more well-rounded to have that knowledge from other places and other course areas. So I've definitely liked the experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. Honors classes here have been some of my favorite that I've taken so far. You've also taken, like many of our other first-year students, Honors Foundations, which is aimed to help first-year students transition from high school into college. Can you share with us your opinion on the course?
I loved the course. It was actually, it was only one time a week for an hour 15, so it didn't take up a lot of extra time, but it really brought the honors students that were coming in into their own circle, their own bubble. There were only like 10 of us in my class, so we really got to know other honors students, and we were being taught by another honors student about all the ins and outs of college. And I really enjoyed that because it gave me an opportunity to just learn things that would help me succeed, like how to create a good LinkedIn or how to build a good resume. And we got tips and tricks, and we planned out our 4-year plan. It was just a really good experience.
Yeah, I think that's like the hardest part really about college, but also about starting college is that like no one tells you that there's so much that no one has told you before. Like no one,
Mhm.
I didn't know what LinkedIn was before I came to college. I didn't know I had to like fulfill all these certain credits. I didn't know how the honors college worked. And so I think without that class, I wouldn't have been able to like navigate my first semester as well as I did. Were you able to like make friends with like your like cohort in your class? Like was there like fun little experiences that you guys had?
Well, I did really enjoy it. We were a close-knit class, so we laughed and we had fun together. And we actually, like, the last day of class, we played Family Feud together. So it was
That's
really
cute.
fun. And I had the same experience with AOK. Definitely, everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's coming in from wherever in the world or the country that they're coming from as a first-year student into the honors college. So it's great to have been able to meet and get connected with those type of people.
No, I definitely agree because we have such a small class size that you really get to talk to every person at least once. And some of the people that I met in my AOK class, I'm really good friends with to this day, which is just crazy. What is one piece or kind of advice that you took away from either AOK, which is acquisition of knowledge, another first year course, or honors foundations?
Well, I took AOK from Dr. Benjamin Young. I would say that what I learned from his class was to have an open mind and to continue learning all the time. He was a philosophy major, so he definitely has a lot of exploratory thoughts, and it really helped me to just broaden my horizons in the way I think to how other people may think and other perspectives, and it really guided me to just see the world in a different light. So I really appreciated that class.
Yeah, I love those like life lessons that you can kind of pull from having professors who have a different background than you, because it does make college easier when you learn that you don't have to be so like focused and neurotic about what the exact path is or what you're doing. Like you can have an open mind and explore different things, that are outside of your degree path, or explore your like little interests on the side as well. Yeah.
My name is Benjamin Young. I'm a faculty member at the Judy Genshaft Honors College. This past year in the semester in Exeter program, at the very end, my students presented me with a basket full of gifts, and one of them, there was cards in there, and each one was special from a particular person. And there's a photograph of us all when we were in Dartmoor. I was really moved by that, and I think that stands out as one of my most favorite memories of connecting with students.
So kind of going to a different area of the conversation, we wanted to talk about your scholarships and like the resources that you've kind of received at USF. So when you joined USF, you were awarded the Women in Leadership and Philanthropy Judy Genshaft Scholarship. So for our listeners who might not be as familiar with the award, could you explain, what it is?
Yes. So most people don't know, which is surprising to me, but every spring there opens up an award spring portal on USF's website for all kinds of scholarships. So all you need is your USF email and password to access this, so incoming seniors can apply for these scholarships all the way through. And so as a senior, I got on and you fill out a general questionnaire, and then you apply for all the scholarships that are applicable to you. And so Women in Leadership and Philanthropy, they give out all kinds of scholarships through this portal. And Women in Leadership and Philanthropy is a program that brings women from all studies and all backgrounds together to just help elevate us and just bring us connections, bring us networking, help us to meet people and make friends. And we have networking events, banquets, dinners, just all kinds of things that we do. And so if you are awarded one of the WLP scholarships through the Award Spring portal, you are automatically admitted into the program, which I didn't know about going into college, but it is definitely a good opportunity to apply for those scholarships and to get the opportunity to be in that program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially the ones that like the scholarships have a program with it, because I know WLP will do like whole conferences where they'll have like entrepreneurs, or I think last year they had like an Olympic gymnast come, and they did like this whole dinner down like on like Bayshore, and so there is like a lot of cool opportunities outside of actually just the money, which is also great. But yeah, that's really cool.
Yes.
So you mentioned a couple of specific events that they do, but could you tell us what sort of events that you've been to or what your experience has been like as a recipient?
Well, the first thing I did with WLP was the scholarship recognition banquet, and we got to meet our scholarship donors, and my donor was Judy Genshaft, and she became my mentor. So it was a really cool experience to be able to meet somebody who was so influential on USF and the city, and to just get to make those connections and make friends and see people who had really made a change in this community that I wasn't really familiar with coming in, seeing as I'm not from here. So it was really cool to get to just make those connections and get familiarized with the city and what had happened in the city. And after that, I did go to the annual symposium where the Dominique Dawes actually spoke, and it was really inspiring. We had breakout events and a luncheon. So it was really nice to be able to do that. And actually, a couple weeks ago, I went to a dinner where we had Debbie Lundberg come and speak, and we learned about interview skills, and we had mentors from all around help us with our resumes. So it's just a really good tool that some people just don't have. Some people don't have somebody that can mentor them or that can help them with those practical tips that'll land them a job in the future. So I think it's a really important group.
Yeah, and it's great to see like the cycle of like women uplifting women and like having really powerful people in our community who can share their experience with you, like as both, you know, someone who is successful, but also as a woman. You did mention that your donor is Judy Genshaft, perhaps the most beloved person in Honors College history. She's so iconic. So what is it like to have a relationship with her and to have direct access to the Queen of the Honors College?
It has been more wonderful than I ever could have imagined. I will say that I had no idea how amazing she was at first. I mean, I wasn't from around here. I wasn't very familiar with USF. I actually, when I first got the scholarship, I had no idea that she was the president of the university. So I think that it was a bit strange for me coming in to just realize, and it was a bit of a wow moment. But it's wonderful just knowing her. She's one of those people that they're known for being amazing, but they actually are amazing. I know a lot of people that they put on a front for, you know, the cameras or the image, but behind the scenes, she's actually a really great person. She's done so much for me. She's helped me access people that I've needed to for just throughout the hurricanes. That process really shut me down. She's helped get me connected with people that could help me. She actually showed me around the St. Petersburg campus downtown, and she's a phone call away if I ever need anything. She's constantly checking up. I got sick a couple weeks ago. She's always calling to make sure I'm okay and doing well. So she's a wonderful lady, and I think that now getting to know her, I've realized how much she truly did for this university and for Tampa in general. And I think it's beautiful to be able to have made that connection, not even knowingly. And I think that she's a great person and that everybody should know her.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's amazing. And her legacy is only going to continue to grow. We love her here at the Honors College. Has she given you any advice that you'd feel comfortable sharing?
She's given definitely a lot of advice. I think the first piece of advice she ever gave me was at the scholarship recognition dinner where I first met her. And it was to just be powerful and present yourself powerfully It wasn't said in those exact words, but I remember she told me something along the lines of not to hold yourself back or not to let yourself be cowardly or in fear, but to go out and get what you want and to just allow yourself to succeed and not to be your own worst enemy is kind of what I got out of it.
That's great advice. Especially like seeing how much she's been able to do and how far she has come, being able to see how that has benefited her over the years and being able to apply that to your own life. I think it's great advice, especially for someone like you who is a freshman. And, there is so much to validly like be afraid of your freshman year, but also you can turn that around and just see everything as an opportunity at the same time. So to kind of like shift to what opportunities has a scholarship opened up for you outside of, your great mentorship relationship that you have gotten with Judy Genshaft?
Well, I will say scholarships in general are really important to me as an out-of-state student because in Louisiana, there's all kinds of scholarship funding that they give you to stay in state, so it was really difficult to branch out of that and say, no, I'm not going to take this money and stay in state. I'm going to go out of state and get these opportunities and be in a place that I know I'm going to love and that's going to build me into the person I want to be. But that also meant that I'm, an out-of-state student. So I actually did get a tuition waiver through my grandparent being here to just waive my out-of-state tuition. So now I am paying in-state tuition as if I had no scholarships. So it does end up coming to be a lot of money, especially since I want to go to med school. And that's 8 years of schooling that I have to pay for. So I think that just the comfort of getting the scholarship and knowing that hard work wasn't going to waste, that I wasn't just applying for nothing, that I wasn't working for nothing, that I was getting something in return. And that really helped me to just pay for books this semester and pay for online like WebAssign and Pearson access codes. And it's really comforting for everybody that I've talked to, just knowing that their work paid off and that they did get a scholarship and that they can say, yes, I applied and I got one, as opposed to just endless clicks and endless essays, because it's just hard when you don't get that positive feedback.
Yeah, and I think it's been great having you here and watching you grow over that first semester, and there's more to come. Obviously, you have 3 more years here. And so what have you gotten involved in academically that you kind of hope to grow on over the next couple of years?
I did recently join the Undergraduate Medical Women's Association. Mm-hmm. So I haven't done much with them yet. I just started this semester, but they do have good speakers and they connect women from the university that are going into medical school and doing these pre-med activities. So I think that's going to be really beneficial to me. I actually am currently in the MediFutures shadowing program as well. So that's helping me to just gain valuable experience from all over anybody that's associated with USF that has become a healthcare professional and get their feedback and their advice and see what they love about their jobs. So I want to do some type of research in the next semester. And then I also am planning on doing the semester in Exeter program this next spring.
I'm going to interrupt you really quick. I went on that program last year and you will not regret it. It is the best thing that ever happened to me. It's with Dr. Young. I also had him for AOK. And that program just changes your outlook on so many things. Like, I truly do not feel like the same person coming back here. I will let you continue because I can keep talking about this for like an hour. But it was great. I loved it so much.
Yes. See, that's great to hear because it's definitely a little nerve-wracking going out of the country for pretty much, the first time going overseas for 6 whole months. So it's a bit nerve-wracking to think about, but I am so excited. Obviously having Dr. Young as my professor and he's the one who's over the program, he definitely encouraged that. So I'm super excited. I hope that it's, valuable that I can get these different cultures and all this different experience and visit different places, and it'll be a first for me. So I've never been out of the country before, so I'm super excited.
It's definitely like the best time, I think, to like have that experience, because it is kind of like, I guess, a coming of age experience to like get to not just like, you know, go out of state and go to college, but also like to go, you know, to another country and live there. And I saw a lot of growth within myself when I did a study abroad. And so I think it's a great experience for anyone who goes, regardless of, you know, your program or how long you're staying. And to just touch back on like your involvement in things like MediFutures, like you're doing exactly what you need to do. More students, I think, in their first year should try and find places where they can see what it's really like to be in the career that they think they want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
As a fourth year, that is something I didn't do. And I ended up changing my major 2.5 years into college. So any advice from a fourth year major, it would be to do exactly what you are doing, to kind of plan ahead and to start doing things that are, you know, kind of dipping your toe into like whatever field that you want to go into.
And to build off of that, don't be afraid to try new things. I've definitely gotten involved in everything that you've kind of touched on, but I also played around with things like nutrition that I kind of had an interest in but never really explored. And those experiences have really paved the ground for what I plan to do after college. And so I think, yes, it's important to kind of get involved and try things that you're interested in, but also try something random. Try something that you wouldn't think about doing every day, even if you don't want to do it for your career or in the long term.
Mm-hmm. That's actually why it was really important to me to be in the band, because it's not something that's going to benefit me career-wise. You know, it has nothing to do with medicine, but it's something that I enjoy doing that connects me with people from majors all across the university. So it is really important to me to not just be medicine. So I definitely want to join something else that's kind of along those lines, but it has been really exciting. And for Exeter too, I am super excited for that.
As someone who has like done so much their freshman year, what are you looking forward to in your, you know, next 3 years at USF?
Well, originally I was planning on graduating early, but because I've loved it here so much and I realize how many opportunities there are, I actually decided I'm going to stay the whole 4 years and not rush myself. Obviously, I'm going to the Exeter program, and then I do want to do research. I actually want to do cancer research. I've had a lot of family members get cancer, especially recently. So it has had a huge impact on my family. So anything I can do to help that and put more research into that, I would love to do. And I know Moffitt is right here, so that would be really easy. And other than that, I just want to kind of continue shadowing and maybe get an internship closer in my upperclassmen years just to get more experience. And I also, this summer, I'm going home and I work at a camp for disabled children. So I'm doing that one last summer, and then the rest of the years I'll be permanently living here. And so I'm definitely excited for what the future holds.
Yeah, that sounds, you're definitely involved in so much, and Moffitt is great. So is all of the resources and stuff we have here at the Honors College. And I think you're going to find yourself really growing and trying new things, and you're constantly going to be meeting new people. I think that's all we have time for today. But thank you so much, Heather, for joining us. It was really lovely to talk to you.
Yes, thank y'all for having me.
All right, so now we're back in the studio. What did you think of the podcast today?
Heather was so sweet. I love how involved she's gotten at USF. And at the Honors College, she seems to have a lot of potential to grow over the next couple years. And I was really impressed by her scholarship.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see that like freshmen are out here like doing well and thriving. I think I struggled a lot my freshman year. And so it's really cool to see the support that she's gotten, but also that she's so quickly found places to like cultivate her interests and found places to, you know, be involved. And speaking of getting involved, don't forget to check the Honor Roll newsletter and our website at usf.edu/honors for upcoming events, updates, and news.
That'll do it for this week's episode. The Honor Roll podcast is recorded in the Judy Genshaft Honors College at the University of South Florida Tampa campus. Production assistance is provided by honor students Sandra Napolitano and Tam Nguyen. Thank you all so much for listening. Please do not forget to rate and review our podcast. We appreciate your feedback. Tune in next week where we hear more honors stories and talk to more members of the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Until next time,
Go Bulls!